Greetings. In this devotion, we are going to talk about how important is it to have God in the midst of our relationship with another. It is very important to have God in the midst of our relationship with another person because it weeds out a lot of things like selfishness and insecurities, and it protects our relationship with the other person. It is not only important to have God in a relationship, but also in friendship, but also with some other person that we have only met. And we'll see what happens when we do not have God in the midst of our relationship and what happens when we have God in our relationship. For that, let's turn to 1 Samuel chapter 20 verse 42, where we see about David and Jonathan. David and Jonathan have a beautiful bond, and they were best friends. They were close to each other. And Jonathan says in chapter 20, 1 Samuel chapter 20 verse 42, he says, Jonathan said to David, "Go in peace, since we have both sworn in the name of the Lord, saying, May the Lord be between you and me." David always thought Jonathan as his friend, and Jonathan also thought about David the same. But more than that, Jonathan should be the successor of his father Saul to be the king of Israel. But God chose David to be the king of Israel. God anointed David to be the king. But Jonathan could have been selfish. Jonathan could have taken it into his heart and hated David because God has anointed David. But on the other hand, Jonathan loved David. Jonathan was secure in his relationship with David because he had God in his midst. On the other hand, we see Saul being insecure, Saul being angry at David when David killed Goliath, and the nation of Israel praised him. That we see in 1 Samuel chapter 18, 7 to 9. Let's read. So the women sang as they danced and said, Saul has slain his thousands and David his 10,000s. Then Saul was very angry, and the saying displeased him, and he said, They have ascribed to David 10,000, and to they have ascribed only 1,000. What can he have but the kingdom? So Saul's eye was on David the day forward. So Saul was always planning to kill David whenever the opportunity came. He was always insecure about the presence of David because his relationship with David God was not in the relationship between Saul and David. On the other hand, David always kept God in his relationship with Saul. Though Saul tried to kill David on many occasions, David, when he had the opportunity to kill Saul, he said, Let the Lord deal with Saul, because Saul is the anointed of God. David did not have the anger, David did not have the insecurity, David did not have that intention of killing Saul and taking the kingdom for himself. Therefore, he saw God being the God of Saul and said, God will take care of his anointed. Who am I to do it? So that is what happens when you and I have God in our relationship. All our selfishness, all our selfish intentions is weeded out. It is taken out when we have God in our midst. It is not only in a relationship, it is not only in a marriage, but it is very important to keep God in our relationship, in our friendship, in our families, in our relationship with our father, in our relationship with our mother, in our relationship with our brothers. It is very important to keep God in our midst. It does not only protect us, it protects the entire relationship. And it is very good to have God in our midst. Thank you so much.